There is fascinating stuff going on between DeSantis and Trump around the Disney issue. Some people switching sides, but it also kind of shows you how central this is. I think to some of the GOP primary. I saw some polling very recently that the ability to combat wokeness is literally #1 for some GOP primary voters, and especially for people who are on the fence between Ron DeSantis and Trump. So DeSantis, once again, got to give the man respect, actually hitting back against Trump, especially on the Disney issue during his Fox and Friends interview. Here's what he had to say.
We obviously have a lot in common with Iowa in terms of what Florida's done and what they've done under Governor Kim Reynolds. And I think the groundswell of support has been really, really strong. And, we're going to press the case. I mean, they had mentioned there may be some differences with me and Donald Trump. And I think that those differences redound to my benefit in a place like Iowa. I mean, for example, he's taken the side of Disney in our fight down here in Florida. I'm standing for parents. I'm standing for children. And I think a multi-billion-dollar company that sexualizes children is not consistent with the values of Florida or the values of a place like Iowa.
Hey, you got to give the guy credit, because what did he say? First, he shouts out Kim Reynolds, who is the governor of Iowa. He said the word Iowa, I think 3 times during that short clip, making it clear that he's trying to contrast himself directly with Trump in that state. The news also just broke this morning, Krystal. He will be attending the Joni Ernst's summer Iowa event. Joni Ernst, for those who don't know, is she's the senator from Iowa. It's called the Roast and Ride. It's a kickoff for the 2024 campaign in Iowa. And obviously, she's very important and somebody that they have to woo. Everybody tries to, if they are hopeful to attend some of her events. Trump right now is unconfirmed for the event, but DeSantis says he absolutely will be there. This underscores his early state strategy. Now, Trump has actually changed his tune. At first, he took Disney's side and he said, oh, well, why is DeSantis going after Disney?
He's getting humiliated by Disney, something like that.
He said humiliated by Disney, but he also basically implied that he shouldn't be going after Disney at all, and also hit him on the job case. Now, though, he's actually changing his tune. Put this up there on Truth Social. He says, Ron DeSanctimonious just stated without correction on Fox and Friends that I was backing Disney. Wrong. Fox should have read my posted truth on Disney, but that's not the game they play. Also in the polls, I am beating Biden by a lot. Rob is not. Also way up on Ron. Check out the DeSantis speech. So he obviously live tweeted.
DeSantis.
Yeah, DeSantis, Rob, all of that. But actually, what was even more interesting is that the same truth that came before was that he said that Disney has become a woke and disgusting shadow of its former self, people actually hating it. It must go back to what it once was, or the market will do damage. This all happened during the governorship of Rob DeSanctimonious. Instead of complaining now for publicity reasons only, he should have stopped it long ago. Would have been easy to do, still is. So now he's like, well, it happened under DeSantis' governorship, as if he somehow controls Disney. And he's like, no, actually, it should be stopped, but DeSantis is ineffective. I actually think that's more of an effective attack. On the Disney issue, is that he tried to do it and he failed after Disney was able to outsmart him on the Reedy Creek governorship board.
Yeah, I mean, on the merits, the Disney fight, I sort of hate, because there's no one to cheer for here. Like, it is true, Disney is this gigantic, unaccountable corporation that's been gifted this massive tax breaks and benefits in Florida for decades now. I think the reason that DeSantis is going after them is stupid, and it's just political posturing. You can see my monologue yesterday about the giveaway that he's gifting to Elon Musk, to see that this is not a critique of corporate power. It's just a war on certain corporations doing things that he doesn't like ideologically. On the other hand, the arguments that Disney is using in court are kind of insane and not anything that anyone who has a critique of corporate power should be cheering on. So that's on the merits of this. I mean, with regard to Trump, this is, again, one of the ways Trump is graded on a curve. He can say one thing one day, workshop that, see how it goes for him, until he changes tune and say something completely different.
And not get called out for
the other day. And even if he does get called out for it, ultimately people just kind of go along with it and buy into whatever the latest line of attack is. I think for Ron DeSantis, with the Disney fight, the risk is not among Republican-based voters, who I think generally like the idea of, like you said, they're into fighting against wokeness, whatever that means, and they like the specter of him taking on this quote-unquote woke corporation. The issue for him is more with the donor set that do not like this. And Disney has already said they're, pulling out some investment in the state. How will that impact the state of Florida, et cetera? But the donor class very uncomfortable with this fight, and that is a key part of the DeSantis constituency. So that's where I think this is the trickiest for him, not as much with the Republican base. However, to the extent that Trump has an effective attack here, the idea that DeSantis is losing and getting humiliated by Disney, I think that is the strongest line of attack.
That's definitely the strongest one. That said, DeSantis also sticking Trump in the eye. Put this up there on the screen. I actually loved this. DeSantis meets with 9/11 families who have bashed Trump for the Saudi-funded golf tournament. He spent Memorial Day with the families of 9/11 victims who had bashed President Trump for hosting the Live Golf tournament at the Trump property, hosted 500 veterans, Gold Star families, and relatives who had lost loved ones on September 11th at the Florida governor mansion, and then specifically went out of his way to meet with 8 of the 9/11 families who had talked to him about this issue. All those families came out and were singing his praises, saying how happy they were with to be able to meet and to have their concerns voiced after Trump went ahead and had that tournament and obviously had a very close relationship with Saudi Arabia. And they also did it as more of a stick in the eye, not just politically, but put this up there. We also know that there currently is a part of the DOJ investigation into one of the myriad of investigations is actually specifically looking into Trump's ties to Live Golf around foreign influence and Saudi Arabia and financial ties. So it's not. It was a dual-pronged attack, and it was a smart play. It was a good headline for DeSantis, no question about it.
Listen, if you actually care about government corruption, foreign influence, like if you're worried about Hunter Biden's ties, for example, this is so brazen. Live Golf is funded directly by the Saudi government. Trump is getting an undisclosed amount of cash directly from them, not to mention Kushner's deals over there, et cetera. So, yeah, this should be investigated. And, yeah, if you actually care about government corruption and wanting to make sure that the president of the United States is actually serving U.S. interests and not doing the bidding of whoever is, like, lining his pockets, this is definitely a big deal and something that should be looked into as part of the myriad of investigations that are going on here. I thought it was funny in the letter that those families of 9/11 victims sent condemning Trump for hosting these Live Golf Saudi-funded golf events, in addition to expressing their extreme pain, frustration, and anger, they actually included a quote from Trump's 2016 comments on the 9/11 terrorist attack from a segment that he did on Fox and Friends. He said at that time, "Who blew up the World Trade Center? It wasn't the Iraqis, it was Saudi. Take a look at Saudi Arabia, open the documents. We ought to get Bush or somebody to have the documents open because, frankly, if you open the documents, I think you are going to see it was Saudi Arabia." Obviously sang a different tune once he was in office and continues to sing a very different tune now that he is getting an undisclosed large amount of cash directly from the Saudi government.
Yep. Well, I think it's an issue, and I despise all of there's so many Live Golf defenders like normie. I'm not a golf guy. I went to a driving range recently, and that was fun. But I've encountered golf bros who love Live Golf because, like, yeah, the players are getting their bag and all that. I'm like, okay, look, it's not about the players. It's about, like, disgusting foreign corruption. And this isn't even a defense of PGA. From what I understand, it sounds like the PGA actually do suck and do not treat the people well. There are many reasons for why they should be dissatisfied. Shocker. It's just like every other league in big business. Maybe, and I absolutely think it should be reformed. Do I think it should be reformed by the Saudi Arabian government?
Right.
No.
Sports
and like
washing.
that is where it's like I don't understand how you could possibly defend it unless you are a midwit moron. So anybody, just putting that out there. I already know the amount of golf bros who are going to be in the comments on this one is going to drive
Kyle
me crazy.
backs you on this one.
Good. I hope he does. Yeah. Hey, but
I've learned more about golf.
But I will tell you,
intended
we are absolutely the minority. I mean, he's an actual golfer. I only have peripherally connected to the golf world, but what I'm saying apparently is very controversial in the golf community.
There's a real divide. I actually think a majority is more on the side of PGA and is like,
I hope so.
That's my impression.
Maybe the silent majority is with the PGA.
I think they are, but I don't really know. Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.